I just went through a really long divorce. My name is Stephen Pope, and it was horrendous. A year and a half process, a lot of litigation. And I found the experience on the law side just to be really lacking. And so, because of that, I decided to create a new software solution called Confidential.Law, confidential with a K. And it's free to sign up. We're going to do a freemium model because we really want people to try the product. We'll add some paid services over time. So if you want to rush in here and get basically a Clio clone for free, it's ready. The whole CRM, all of the things, the certificates and the compliance issues, all of that's been solved already, and it's going to be everything you need from one spot. So let's get started. I'll do a little demo today so you can see what it's like. So you can hit the start free button and sign up for an account. And then within a minute or two, start adding all of your information in and be able to manage everything in one spot. So on the registration page, just put your work email in, make a password, hit create account, and you're off to the races. So here's what the dashboard looks like upon login. You can see all your active cases, client load, hours logged, revenue. To be able to know everything in one spot, you can customize the dashboard, see the revenue by month, everything you'd want from a CRM plus project management software plus client management place. So in here, you can go to the cases. So I created a divorce case here for a random person, Billy Bob. And in here, you can see how much we've billed them, what's outstanding, unbilled time, how many hours and tasks. You can add in a deadline. You can add in all the information that this client has. All of its documents are in one spot. So you can go to the document section. You can go to every individualized thing that you would need to run this case. So let's say you're the owner of the firm. You got 10 attorneys. You want to see what one specific attorney, Stephen Pope's, up to right now. So you can go in here and track all of their cases specifically just to that individual. Maybe you want to see how your hourly rate versus contingencies are doing. Maybe you have a couple of pro bonos you haven't checked in a month. You want to see what they're up to. So all these filters in here allow you to look everything up by client, by lawyer, by type, anything in a date range, basically anything you need to understand the caseload. You can do the same thing for client load. Come in here and add Billy Bob and Joe Schmo and see what they're up to, how much you've billed on each of them, how much time has been spent, what the latest document that's been loaded or the other activity by date, by type. You can tag other people and assign tasks out here and make sure things continue to move forward. All their contact information can be added. You can invite others to the portal. So create a new portal login for this client. So if you want them to be tracking things and it gives them automatic notifications, all of that's pre-programmed into the portal. And as a client of the law system, I didn't know what was going on half the time. And I had to text my lawyer constantly for updates. And if there was a portal like this that was serving me while I was experiencing my divorce, I wouldn't have had to do that. My lawyer could have just been continuing working my case. I could have just followed along online to understand what was going on. So that's why I built Confidential.Law, was to solve a lot of those pain points, which then frees up your time, allows you to bill for more important matters, take on more cases, etc. And it's not just about clients. It's also about having all of your contacts in one place. So you got a Rolodex in here. Maybe you got a private detective guy. Maybe you got a new lawyer just onboarded. They don't know where to start. And you tell them, well, just go into the contact section. You need a PI, type in private detective. And all of a sudden, private detective comes up because the search box filters all of that fast. Maybe you got a police guy. You need to look at one of your defense criminal cases. And so you got all of their contact info in here as well, whether it's which arbiter is available, which other counsel needs to be tag teamed. You can put all of these in here. You can sort them by vendor, expert witness, courts, opposing counsels, all of that. And you can even import a CRM. So you've got this in an Excel file, or maybe somebody else provided you one. You can download all of that and upload it here, and it will display all of that information seamlessly. Next, let's talk about leads. So of course, the lifeblood of growth comes from new lead onboarding. The problem is a lot of lawyers drop the ball. Maybe the secretary gets the lawyer on the first call, but then nothing happens. And so this allows you to get every lead into the pipeline, tag it by status, how often, when was the last time they got contacted, what was the proposal, what's the retainer, who is going to be the lawyer that you assign this. And then after they go through this lead pipeline, then you can move them off to your project, and it's all seamless, all in one spot. So you can put all of their company information, their practice area status, who it's going to be assigned to. So we'll assign that to Stephen Pope. When's the next follow-up date? So you get an alert. all of this automation built in, pre-packaged into the software, free today if you onboard now before we start charging for services later. So I just added myself as a lead. So it's in the new section. You can move that along to the contacted section. You can move that along, drop and drag to now we've done a consultation. Now we're going to do into a proposal. And then imagine you have 100 leads into the system and you're trying to figure out what you should do right now. Well, you could work this backwards and go from proposal backwards to consultation to contacted and continue to try and make sure nobody's falling through the tracks. One of the most important parts of a legal system for your law firm is time tracking. I run an agency called My Amazon Guy, and we have over 400 employees. So being able to know how much time is being spent on each project, how I'm going to bill, when all of those entries have been added in, super important. So let's do a particular log of time here. So we'll log it for Stephen Pope there. We can link it to a task. I haven't made a task yet. We can link it to a divorce case. How many hours? Let's say I spent 1 hour on this. My billable rate is $450. And here's what I did: created case log and filed, right? And then this is billable. Yes. Here it's submitted. I can even have like a draft status built by the paralegal, go over to the lawyer, then it's approved. And then finally, the back office can switch the status to billed. And all of those time tracking statuses will be in here. Here's the amount that's billable, and all of this tracker will keep going up as you add those billable hours. And then you can change the filter to what hasn't been billed. Back office takes care of that. Push button, invoice goes out. Boom, you're done. Next, let's look at invoices. So on the left-hand side here, you can click on invoices. I went ahead and created a draft right before here, and you can see we've got an invoice built for $450, created the case log and filed. You can see that there. If we needed to add another item in here before we hit the bill, add another hour here. Let's say this is just paralegal work, paralegal checking things, hit add line item, and then that's now part of the invoice, and then we can send it off and collect the payment. So here we go. We can hit mark as sent. We can hit record payments. So if they send it like check, for example, you didn't take it online, we are going to program in the ability to take Stripe payments or other payment methods that work for you and your law office. And then you'll be able to program charging credit card fees, or if they don't use credit card and they're ACHing, charge no fees. Having that customized ability built straight into the portal just makes it really convenient. Maybe you got a note about payment instructions or all of those things. You can connect Stripe in the settings right here today. So pretty cool stuff. Separate from timing billing, you also might have an expense that comes up. So maybe it's for a court filing fee, or maybe it's for the dinner that you had to provide your staff and it cost $173. So you can categorize that, and put different types of categories into the system. We'll put it under travel here. Here's the case. You can look it up and then drop down. Here's the client. We got Billy Bob. Put that in. Yes, it's billable. And then we can add in a receipt if we need to and hit add expense. And I can't emphasize enough how awesome it is to see what's billable versus what is unbilled. And then you can decide how often you send those bills out. Maybe you want to send them every 2 weeks. Maybe it's a big case, got to send it every week. Maybe it's a small case, you send it every month. But being able to customize that and create those automations, really, really cool. Next, we're going to go over to trust accounts, where you can add in bank accounts. So here, just add in the account name, bank name, and the account number to be able to move funds back and forth and create automations with ACHs, or be able to move money, add operating accounts, so you can pay staff or get paid from clients. All that's built in right here. Next, we'll go to the billing overview. So in here, we're going to get all the statuses of everything that's going on. And this is going to be global, but it also can be drilled down to team member, drilled down to client. And you can see all the billables, what's collected, outstanding, unbilled, expenses, collection rate. So maybe you got a problem in the collection rate. You've sent out, $1 million in billables, but only 200K has been collected and it's overdue by 45 days. Well, that kind of cash flow analysis, don't even need a CPA. It's all in the tech right here. That pays for itself very quickly. Next, we're going to go over to the new task creation section under productivity. And in here, you can type in the title of the task, the client name, what case it's for, the task type, who it's assigned to, priority. So maybe this is a medium task, maybe it's urgent. You can set a due date. So we can put in here for, say, Saturday, estimated hours we think it's going to take, let's say 13. and then set a reminder so that you know you have to check on this by a certain time frame, maybe well in advance of that due date, so you can have the paralegal know, okay, here are all the tasks I need to check on today. Here are all the tasks I need to check tomorrow, and keep things moving along. But creating automations to create those notifications helps quite a bit. Here's a description you might add versus some internal notes that may or may not be facing to the client, but the description might be facing to the client if you so choose, so that they can stay informed and they know what's going on without having to ask. And again, that's customizable. Maybe you want them to know what's going on. Maybe you don't. That's up to you as a law firm. As a client, though, I would like to be informed, and I would hire a lawyer who does that. And I think that's a really big net benefit. So in here, you can see all the pending tasks. You can sort those, filter those by client, by case, by lawyer, keep things going along. Next, we've got a calendar, which of course is incredibly important. Not only is it going to show all the due dates of tasks, when things have been done, also you might be able to add a new event in here. So let's say we got a court case coming up for our case divorce here, and it's a hearing, and we're going to set that to 9 a.m. So maybe it's a reoccurring event. We can also add that functionality in here. But all your basic calendaring that you might have in a G Suite or an Outlook, boom, it's right here. And you can drill this down by week, by day. But the nice thing is that having everything in one place with all the functionality you would expect from these multiple sources, it makes it really easy to check on things, to not miss things. Because if you miss a task, that's a missed billable hour. If you miss a court filing, that's a pissed off client, maybe even a pissed off judge. And those things are all preventable with technology. You can also load in documents for anything you need for your case, whether it's all of the briefs, all the court notes, maybe it's stuff that the client's provided, but putting that all in here and then being able to go back and then search those documents, I have found just to be incredibly painful with the amount of documentation that goes along back and forth. But being able to invite the client to upload everything to one secure location, and then you to be able to manage that, and then to choose which lawyers get access to that documentation, and then to be able to filter it and control it all in one place. No Dropbox, no Google Drives, no emailing giant files back and forth, and then your inbox has to get cleared out. Everything in one spot. So there's all kinds of files you can choose. Again, you can link it to the case. You can and add in descriptions as you see fit. Paralegal could be in charge of loading everything. You can even have the client load things in here, save time on everybody. Next, we've got communication. So you can send messages back and forth to the client. A lot of people are going to want to go into mobile. We're probably going to build out some sort of links into mobile data and text messages as a later feature. That'll be pretty cool. But for now, portal messages, kind of like an email message, if you will, going back and forth. But you can also log in the time and and we're going to try and program some things to automatically, like, okay, we checked your phone. We know you had 37-minute phone call here. We're going to try and add in all of that. But for now, it's a little bit manual, which is one of the most painful things for lawyers to go back and do. But we try and make that as painless as possible by adding in how the type, phone call, email, meeting, note, letter, whatever it might be. And then again, by client, what's the subject, notes, if you want to add any information, date and time, log the communication like that. Now, the best way to do this, of course, is every single day. A lot of lawyers get lost at court. They just want to go home and see their family. And so you might have to do that on a weekly basis, but at least it's as painless as possible to log in those communications. All right, next we're going to go to intake forms. So the onboarding process for law firms is horrendous. I've experienced this working with 4 or 5 different lawyers. So in here, you can create custom fields, whether you want to include names, other fields that you might want to add in that are text-based, sentence-based, checkbox, etc., to be able to come in here and add in anything you need to intake client information so that you don't have to have requesting this over and over again, all automatically into the portal. So you can create a customized intake form to gather all the information that you're looking for, and then to make it formatted by field, imported directly into the CRM, all automatically. So it's a really great benefit to be able to do that. So let's just test this out. So we're going to type in the form name, which let's call it template. You can have a URL slug so you can remember those URLs, maybe save on your mobile phone, a quick URL that you just slug, like, okay, hey, Joe had a great call today. Fill out my intake form next. And then they're off to the races. And then add in any fields that you need to do this. But over time, you can customize this for different lawyers. You can customize this for different court cases. Maybe you got a law division that's for criminal. Maybe it's very different intake form for your divorce section or family law, et cetera. So you can have different types of intake forms with different links, all customizable to the needs that you have. Next, we're going to go over to insights or reports. So what's great about this is it basically makes it so you don't have to have a CPA because you got your AR aging report. You can talk to revenue by attorney. Let's say you got one partner who's not doing as much as the other partners. Well, it's going to be as clear as night and day. There's no going to be no hard feelings because it's all tracked revenue by attorney. Maybe there's some rev share deals that you'll restructure based on the actual billable hours that go out. Who's got the best time utilization? What's the matter list, the expense summary, the trust account summary, and all the billing information with every report you possibly could use. What's also cool is we also have a conflict check. So if you know you've worked for opposing counsel or opposing client in the system, this will run that check automatically. One thing, and you don't have to do any manual going to the back file and looking through the files or anything like that, or checking with your other law attorneys that are on staff. That conflict check already pre-built into the system. All the resource section is going to have all these templates that can help you automatically. So we've already preloaded a bunch of opportunities depending on the template library you might need, whether it's medical, injury, criminal, estate, corporate, you name it, even immigration. So all of these are pre-baked in here, and we will take additional requests as you guys need. We also have a user manual that might help you navigate, get started, or help anybody else figure out what they need to do, where they need to go, and how to do it. So after you've onboarded, you're going to, of course, want to add additional team members. You can do that down the bottom left in the settings section. Go to team on this drop down, hit add member. So let's say I'm going to add in Billy, and we put his email in, his username. You can set the password, whether, let's say this is a staff member, and then their hourly rate is 55 versus a paralegal at much higher and a lawyer even higher than that. And then add in their information, and then you can give that information to them, but they'll also get the invite through the system as well. We'll be adding more features as they're requested. So if you want something built by asking for it and engaging with us, and since we're in the early stages, we're gonna be building out whatever you ask for because we want to get this off the ground. And so that's the risk you take when starting a new software is maybe it's not all baked in, but the great thing about it is we can customize it and build it for you in real time and very quickly, like 48 hours sort of turnaround in the first few months that we're building and launching this. So my name is Stephen Pope. I run a 400 person digital marketing agency called My Amazon Guy, one of the largest Amazon selling agencies in the world. And we're diversifying some of our technology support into other areas because what's worked for me at my agency can absolutely help the legal system as well. I'm very confident. And since I had such a bad experience myself, and I think, the law system is decades behind, and there's not a lot of incentive for people to engage in tech because the system is so old, so broken. But I firmly believe that what we're building here could change a lot of that game. So my name is Stephen Pope. You can send me an email as well or contact me. I'll be very open to your feedback. You can email me at Stephen at Confidential.Law. Hope to talk to you soon. Thanks.